There are people who don't keep score in love. They give it once fully, like a single match struck in a dark forest, and when it burns out they never strike another. You'll spot them years later, eyes soft at old songs, fingers tracing empty coffee cup rings, smiling at memories no one else can see. They aren't bitter or broken or afraid. They just love differently. The psychology behind people who love once and never again isn't about walls. It's about worship. It's the quiet covenant between heart and memory, between risking everything and risking nothing ever again. You see, for some, love isn't renewable. It's a single-use miracle. Every heartbeat they spent was a vow. All of me, right now, no safety net. It's not that they can't love again. It's that they already spent the entire currency. They hold that one name like a pressed flower, fragile, perfect, impossible to duplicate. They feel the echo of every almost forever, the sting of every sunrise that arrived without them. Their hearts are etched with deep, luminous scars that spell the same quiet truth. Once was enough, and that kind of devotion comes with a toll, solitude. Invisible armor isn't forged in steel. Sometimes it's the pause before answering, "Are you seeing someone?" The breath before swiping left, the heartbeat before saying, "I'm fine alone." Psychologists call it attachment imprinting, anaclitic depression, post-love catatonia. But what we miss is that loving once and never again isn't the rejection of connection. It's the fierce grip on sacredness, no matter how lonely. People who seal their hearts after one great love aren't denying tomorrow. They're protecting the altar they already built. Their spirits thrive on absolutes. When they say, "I can't do that again," it's not fear, it's fidelity. They need the silence not because they hate noise, but because every new voice would feel like sacrilege. There's also something primal wired into why the heart locks. Every grand love activates an ancient circuit, the one that bonded nomads to one fire, one tribe, one lifetime mate. In today's carousel of options, the brain still whispers, "This was the one. Will another ever match?" For the once lovers, vigilance becomes vow. The mind replays, reveres, reinforces. No wonder new sparks feel like sparks on wet wood. But here's the paradox. Many who love once and never again become the most radiant ghosts. They want closeness, but not at the cost of desecration. They want touch, but rooted in the soil where the first seed died. They want yes, but not blind to the no that taught them what yes is worth. This is the tender burden of the one-timers, the friction between fossil and flame, because it's not the future they fear. It's forgetting the miracle that made them. If you've ever held a photo and felt the sentence rise unbidden, "No one will ever," you've tasted this paradox. You watch others date, marry, reboot, and a small voice murmurs, "Good for them." But deep down, you know reopening would feel like rewriting scripture. That's not cowardice. That's consecration. Researchers in attachment theory call it high romantic consolidation. These souls encode one love so deeply it becomes neural scripture. Daily life amplifies, a scent to season, a street corner that still smells like goodbye. It's not obsession, it's ossification of the sacred. To function, they preserve the relic. Preservation, then, isn't always prison. Sometimes it's preservation of wonder. It's the soul declaring, "This moved me once, I won't dilute the miracle." But culture rarely honors that. We celebrate the sequel, the rebound, the plenty of fish. We label loyalty to one love as limp, depth as damage, memory as malfunction. People who love once often hear, "Move on. Don't let one person define you." But what if that one person is the definition? What if their silence is the forge of reverence? There's a deeper thread, the bond between identity and first blaze. Many once lovers met their match in crucible years. First freedom, first naked soul. Gradually, the psyche fused self with that fire. Loving again feels like betraying the origin story. The unconscious remembers ignition like muscle memory. So when possibility calls, the heart doesn't just hear potential. It hears palimpsest. Yet, the most luminous part of these people is their latent ember. When they choose to warm another, it's volcanic. They see subtleties others swipe past. Their devotion runs magma deep, but so does their guard. It's as if they carry a torch forged in first light, brighter for the burn, heavier too. Every new connection demands renegotiation, and they renegotiate with cathedral care. This doesn't doom them to eternal ash. Many who love once bloom in adjacent gardens, mentoring, creating, channeling the surplus into art, animals, strangers on trains. They excel where intensity trumps frequency. One perfect letter, one lifelong friendship, one slow blooming orchid. They may not couple again, but when they commit, it's cosmic. Still, we must name the loneliness that pools with every unsent text. Bearing memory preserves sanctity, but it can barricade belonging. Even the most monastic hearts crave echo chambers that understand silence as sacrament. The quest is finding spaces that honor the relic without halting the road. For some, that means micro-rituals. Annual letters never mailed. A bench at sunset. A playlist that ends where it began. It's not about clinging. It's about communion. Lately, therapists call this romantic ossification. The psychic toll of petrified passion. You feel it in the flinch before flirting, the sigh before small talk. For profound feelers, the fossil sets fast. It's not collapse. It's calibration. A laugh feels borrowed. A date feels dress up. And suddenly you just need dusk, not from despair, but to retune the relic. Those who love once invent clever counterspells. They ritualize evenings, candle, vinyl, one glass of wine for two ghosts. They detour through volunteering, not to forget, but to fan the ember outward. These aren't fixes, they're stewardship. Methods of modulating the memory. And here's a velvet truth. The silence isn't always sepulcher. At times, it's sanctuary. Discernment of depth, reverence for rupture, fidelity to first light. That's psychological mastery. The problem isn't the memory, it's the shame for keeping it. We're taught abundance equals freedom. But what if singular devotion is the real triumph? Balance endures. Total solitude, cozy at first, calcifies into crypt. The psyche needs resonance. Souls who echo epics without erasure. Growth happens in mirrored memories, even silent ones. Thus, the true quest for once lovers isn't to mute the memory. It's to migrate with it. Start small. A shared sunset. A story told without tears. A circle that celebrates singularity. Progress isn't purge. It's partnership. A hand offered. A history honored. A hush hallowed. What once lovers truly seek isn't replacement. It's resonance. They aren't chained by yesterday. They're chaperoned by it. Seeking arenas sacred enough to share the glow. And sometimes they just need recognition. To not read their restraint as rejection. To grasp that when they demur, it's not the now I doubt. It's devotion. They're not negating nerve. They're nurturing it. It's a quiet sovereignty. The kind unsung, yet sacred. For it dares defy the decree of disposal. To venerate your visceral volume in an era obsessed with upgrade. The psychology of those who love once and never again isn't a tale of tragedy. It's a tale of custodial candle. Every echo has ember, and they've mastered metering it where it warms most. Sometimes the sharpest ache isn't the absence. It's enduring the echo, the regret that ricochets, the muted wonder if they've muted magic. They replay the restraint, rationalizing. I just needed the sacred. I was whole. Perhaps tomorrow I'll share. But inside, they know it's rhythm, not rupture. Memory mounts, mindfulness mediates. What multitudes miss is that devotion kindles not in dozens. It kindles in depth. Perhaps it began when a teenager felt infinity in one kiss. Perhaps they were the only steady flame in a storm of starters. They learned one true note was durable over 1,000 false chords. Gradually, that glow grew guardian. They didn't stop loving. They just loved once, completely. Cognitively, this births what scholars term singular attachment. The habit of tethering tomorrow to testament to temper terror. It's not aversion to abundance. It's asylum and authenticity. But here's the luminous truth. Once lovers often harbor prodigious inner galaxies. Their persistence propagates purity, perception, perseverance unmatched in serial tempo. They are the guardians, the gentle giants, the quiet cartographers mapping mercy in a swipe-right rush. Their ballast isn't barren. It's bedrock where beauty brews. But linger too long, and locust becomes lock. Cognition calls it the relic reel. Each rehearsal eases momentarily, yet braids the bond between bygone and break. Snapping the reel demands not cruel cut. It's restoring its song. Rather than reading restraint as restraint, morph it into mentor and measured motion. Micro milestones to mobilize sans mutilation. One of the most misread gifts of once lovers is their hypervigilant acuity. They register the micro-tremor before the tear, the throat catch before the choke. That acuity, unchanneled, recoils into retreat. Cultivated, it converts to compassionate command. The key isn't to kill the memory, it's to conduct it. Breathwork, body scans, talismans that whisper back, the fire still burns. Because much of the never again isn't the person. It's the terror of tarnishing the temple. And yet, the paradox endures. Many who love once are the most magnanimous mirrors you'll meet. They mourn mightily. They memorialize milestones. They minister softly. They manifest mercy in motions missed unseen. They simply grapple with the gravity of greatness, the part that mandates magnification. For them, legacy isn't loud. It's the lingering lesson unearthed at leisure. The lingering look, the way they metabolize minus monopolizing. There's an evolutionary angle too. Not all were built for boundless bonding. In primal bands, pair bonding was premium. Some sprinted, some stayed. The stayers who stored stories often saved the tribe. Their restraint was resilience. Today, that tenacity translates. Intuiting an ally's ancient ache. Pausing the pitch to protect the heart. When every era erupts at once, the mind moors to memory as mainstay. The now era exhausts that. It exalts the effortless. If you're not cycling, swiping, or sparkling, you're sidelined. But truly, loving once isn't loss. It's loyalty against lukewarm links. It's the essence's edict. I refuse relinquishing my rendering merely to seem resilient. Still, safeguarding and sharing must sink. Excessive safeguard stagnates, undue restraint rusts. The aim isn't to annihilate the altar. It's to attach candles. In therapy, a practice called graduated glow gains ground. Incremental, ingestible inches toward the intimidating. Not to annihilate adherence, but to amplify afterglow. For a once lover, that might mean murmuring one remember when, then moving mercy-free. It might mean mapping the memory on paper before proclaiming it. The point isn't prohibition. It's persuading the psyche that progress doesn't portend profanity. Gradually, the form forges fresh fable. I can carry the candle and still cascade. But let's lean closer. Why does mere motion sometimes magnify the memory? Because daily dynamics delineate us. Every exchange exposes the earnest ego. When kin kindle carefree, we feel fractured. When circles commune in current, we feel cadence forsaken. That dissonance evokes the intrinsic interval, the gap between the self we shelter and the self we show. The more monolithic the memory, the more monumental the gap, in milieux molded on momentary mirth. Thus the silence, in myriad modes, is renunciation of rupture. It's avowing, I shan't shatter my shrine solely to shimmer. That's not defect. That's devotion. But devotion can desolate when the world mistakes measure for malaise. Those who love once aren't eternally eclipsed. They're elsewhere, equilibrating their ember, pondering particulars none necessitated. They're recirculating reverence, refining resonance, querying if they quartered quests or quartered quietly. They inhabit the afterimage of ignition. Long past the pulse, their musings mull, sifting, sanctifying, scrutinizing. That's the tariff of tenderness. Yet therein lies radiance. Because when they deign to dilute the dictum, it's divine. Their disclosures dawn like daylight. Their discernment dazzles the devout. You needn't nudge their nerve. When they're with you, they're holy. They don't dart distractions. They delve durations. They're not pursuing praise. They're pursuing profundity. For myriad, mending mounts with reconsecrating the candle, not as captor, but as crucible. You can cherish the once, and yet crave the cosmos. You can clasp the candle without cloistering. Concord isn't conjured in ceaseless coupling. It's conjured in cognizing when to clutch and when to cast. When you commence contemplating your continuum sans censure, caution becomes compass. You initiate to select, not from fright, but from fidelity. The cosmos craves not universal urgency. It craves custodians. It craves those who weigh the whisper of what if ere any utters it. It craves those who love once yet uphold more. Loving once, when wisdomed, matures into weighted wonder. The proficiency to persist profoundly, not prolifically, because profundity, not precipitancy, precipitates veritable vital bond. And perhaps that's the veiled verity veiling this voyage. Those who love once and never again aren't repudiating the realm. They're yearning for a rendition resonant with reverence. A realm where they needn't negate their narrative into negligible nuggets merely to Nestle. A realm where remembrance isn't redundant. Where resonance supplants rushed rhetoric. Where relic is welcome to waft. Until they unearth that realm, they erect it in their endurance. And at times that's the most meticulous mode of momentum. Because one dawn when they deign to share the flame and dance, they'll do it distinctly. They'll no longer labor to lighten the load. They'll simply search seasoned, sensitive, sublime. And those who witness will intuit it. That persistence, unbeseeching prominence. That poise, unpropitiating acclaim. That's the potency of those who erstwhile loved once. They emerge enriched. And perhaps that's the precept for us all. Vitality doesn't dawn in the dash. It dawns in the delve. In discerning yourself densely enough to dawn as one durable. When you comprehend your own candle, you finally harbor heat worth hauling. When you hallow your own hall, you finally forge foray to enfold others. Those who love once and never again aren't fractured. They're forging the sort of fire that renders veritable voyage viable. And when they finally fan the flame, it's not vanity, it's veracity.